In this package, hope rises for urgent intervention as federal government delegation inspects erosion site in Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom First Lady embarks on road walk to draw attention to needs of girl child. And police intensify operation to curb crime as festive season approaches. Details of this and more in a moment. Good morning to you and welcome to AKBC 45 News at Dawn. I am Blessing Kisomuyo. The inspection of erosion sites in Akwa Ibom by a federal government delegation has raised hopes of urgent assistance to the state to tackle the menace. The delegation from the Federal Ministry of Finance, led by Aisha Omar, had earlier visited Government House Uyo, where they were received by the Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, on behalf of the State Governor before inspecting some erosion sites in the state. Precious John has the details.
Aisha Omar, who is a Deputy Director in the Federal Ministry of Finance, explained that the way in the state following the request made by the state government to partake in the Nigeria Erosion and Watershed Management Project, NEWMAP. She said the federal government and other stakeholders, through counterpart funding, will assist states to cushion effects of natural disasters such as erosion. According to her, the team during inspection will ascertain the number and extent of erosion menace in the state with a view to considering it as a beneficiary. The team later listed some of the criteria to be fulfilled by the state government to enable its benefits from the projects.
The project has a total cost of $658.59 million and hopefully once we go around today and see the extent of erosion in Akwa Ibom State, we'll start to consider the inclusion and participation of the state in
The Deputy Governor, who stood in for Governor Dom Emmanuel, expressed optimism that the revelations from the inspection of erosion sites in the state will spur the federal government to urgently come to the help of Akwa Ibom people. He thanked the federal government for the program and for sending her representatives to the state, while congratulating the newly appointed Minister of Finance.
To see them and be able to help us get us into the scheme of the project will meet the conditions that you set out for us.
The Commissioner for Environment, Dr. Inyobong Isien, described the visit as timely in view of the state government's readiness to provide counterpart funding to enable the smooth takeoff of the projects. The Commissioner explained that already the state government have intervened in several erosion sites in the state, including that of the Anwa Hospital and the Calabaito Highway, adding that the state already is invaded with over 1,000 erosion sites.
And I want to say that we have over 1,000 erosion sites across the state. Most of them are devastating, and that's why when we told them about the extent of degradation and the menace in the state, they insisted that they wanted to come and see for themselves.
The Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, accompanied by the Commissioner for Environment and other stakeholders, later led the team to visit some erosion sites in Uyo Metropolis, where the federal government delegation described the site as pathetic and one that needs urgent intervention. Patience John reporting.
Upholding the dignity of the girl child was the focus of a walk through the major streets of Uyo yesterday morning, organized by the Family Empowerment and Youth Reorientation Program, FEREP, the pet project of the Akwa Ibom State Governor's wife, Mrs. Martha Odom Emmanuel. The walk, according to Imo Mana, also provided an opportunity for the discussion of issues concerning the girl child. Her reports.
The wife of the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Mrs. Martha Odom Emmanuel, led the road walk which began at Akwa Ibom Hall through Akar Road and Willington Bassey Way, where it terminated at the Akwa Ibom State Banquet Hall, Government House, Uyo. The walk had as theme, Work with FEREP to uphold the dignity of the girl child, with female secondary school students in attendance. Addressing those who participated in the road work, Mrs. Martha Emmanuel said the essence of the road work was to educate the girl child on the need to uphold their dignity by abstaining from premarital sex in order to prevent unwanted pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases. She advised mothers to keep a close watch on their female children to reduce to the barest minimum the menace of teenage pregnancies, appealing to parents to provide for the basic needs of their children and explore additional streams of income to help meet the daily demands of their homes. Governor's wife said the girl child sensitization campaign will be taken to secondary schools in all the local government areas, stressing that quarterly checks will be conducted by FEREP officials to ensure that the program succeeds.
For this exercise, I know so many of you, I'm sure you have lost like 2 pounds. I have lost 5. I don't know about you. It is a good thing. It is a good exercise. When we are healthy, then we will stay focused.
The coordinator, Family Empowerment and Youth Reorientation Program, FEREP, Mrs. Ime Inyang, thanked members of the organization for their support in the drive to uphold the dignity of the girl child and called on groups and individuals to support FEREP's campaign against violence and growing insecurity experienced by the girl child.
Our girls are the future of our tomorrow, the builders of our tomorrow's families.
A girl child, Stephanie Ikbenyong, appreciated the wife of the governor for her interest in the well-being of young girls, promising that they would strive to excel in all aspects of their lives.
The wife of the Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Evangelist Emamo Bonko, has advised women to always be prayerful and to trust in God's faithfulness at all times. She gave the advice during the Besikwaso Town Women's Monthly Prayer Summit held at the Local Government Council Hall, Nodo. Our Assembly Bureau Chief, Chris Unkan, reports that the Besikwa women turned out en masse and participated actively in the prayer.
Evangelist Emabongo noted that God's answers to their prayers had already been visible. She enjoined the women to be enterprising and promised that she would always support them in their endeavors. In her exhortation, the Reverend Rosalind Timothy, who preached on the theme, God, my refuge and fortress, admonished the women to anchor their faith and hope in God. Drawing her texts from the books of Isaiah and Titus, the Reverend Timothy encouraged the women to ensure that their daily conduct reflected their status as Christians, adding that there was always a blessing for righteousness.
That is when you have the refuge.
The women who took time to sing praises to God and dance to His glory also offer prayers for protection, safety, healing, and good health. The choir was also on hand to minister.
Let everything bow, let everything bless His holy name. His name I'll tell you forever, forever.
Authorities of the University of Uyo have announced the commencement of 2015-2016 academic year from tomorrow. A release signed by the Registrar of the institution and Secretary to the Senate, Mrs. Edabo Mondak, says fresh students are to report at their respective faculties screening centers on Monday, 16th November for screening of their original credentials and thereafter proceed to pay fees at designated banks before registering online. The statement adds that returning students should follow procedures for the online registration after the payment of approved fees. Furthermore, students are to register between Monday, 23rd November to Friday, 11th December, after which registration with penalty will commence from Monday, December 14th to Monday, December 28th. The release states that any student who fails to register within the stipulated period will be deemed to have forfeited his or her status as a student and has withdrawn from the university. It says lectures for fresh and returning students will commence on Monday, December 14, 2015. It's time to take a short break. When we return, we have more news for you. Stay with us.
There is a land of great beauty and wonderful people. Here, Mary Slessor called home until she passed on to greater glory. Here, Lord Lugard lived and administered Nigeria. The hills roll like the waves, and the waves rise like the hills. A land named after God, Akwa Ibom State, the land of promise. Welcome to Akwa Ibom, the land of promise.
So good to have you back. The Petroleum Products Monitoring Committee, PPMC, has directed petroleum product marketers to revert to the government-approved pump price of 87 naira per litre for premium motor spirit, also known as petrol. This directive follows the suspension of a strike embarked upon by the Tanker Drivers Unit of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas of Nigeria, NUPENG, in the state to press home their demand for the rehabilitation of the Calabar-Itu Highway. The chairman of the PPMC, Obong Esenesema, gave the directive yesterday when he monitored sales of petroleum products in some fuel stations in Uyo. Obong Esema, who personally supervised the sale of petrol to motorists and the public in some filling stations along Oran Road and Akano the Road late into the night, said his committee went into a lot of negotiations while the strike lasted. He acknowledged the deplorable state section of the Calabar-Itu Road, but advised members of the Independent Petroleum Marketers of Nigeria to put the interest of the state above self by selling petroleum products at government-approved pump prices now that the strike has been called off. While appealing to the federal government to rehabilitate the road to save Akwa Ibom citizens from untold hardship occasioned by incessant strikes, the state PPMC chairman re-echoed his appeal for the federal government to set up a petroleum depot in the state and also urged IPMAN members to set up private depot. Obong Esema assured of adequate supply of petroleum products and that no marketer should attempt to hoard such products, especially during the Yuletide. He pledged to intensify the monitoring of fuel stations to ensure compliance and to ensure that nobody tries to sabotage the state government's efforts in making life bearable for the people. The State Police Command has again called on parents to advise their wards to curtail their movements at night. The call became necessary as the command is intensifying its operations to further reduce crime rate in the state as the Yuletide approaches. The Commissioner of Police, Murtala Mani, in a news briefing in Uyo, said that the command has mapped out strategies to ensure the security of the state at all times. Mr. Mani, who was represented by the Command Public Relations Officer Cordelia Mwawe, said that the police will spare no effort to bring perpetrators of crime to book. At the briefing, persons arrested for alleged crimes at various points were paraded before newsmen. Among those paraded was a 50-year-old man who defiled a 2-year-old baby and secondary school students who were arrested for possessing locally made pistol. The student, a young girl of about 15 years, and a boy admitted to the alleged crime, while the boy also admitted that he is a member of a cult group. Also paraded were 2 sisters who were alleged to have been in possession of some quantity of cannabis, popularly called Indian hemp. 3 persons aged between 17 and 21 were also paraded for armed robbery. The police said they are working in synergy with other agencies to arrange the suspects.
In the afternoon, tricycles, and then you become persons who are used as agents to be able to move about arms.
The police also said they will continue to stop and search exercise. The police also said they will continue the stop and search exercise and urge young men and women to be wary of the company they keep. 64 students of Obong University, Obong Tak in Etemeko, found worthy in character and learning are said to receive first degrees in various disciplines at the institution's second convocation coming up on Saturday, 21st November 2015. The Vice Chancellor of the Obong University, Professor Ododo Ekanemesang, made this known while briefing newsmen. Giving the breakdown, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Ekanemesang, said the first class in economics, 24 second class upper, 37 second class lower, and 2 third class degrees will be awarded at the convocation. He added that the paramount ruler of Ibionibum, Okukwime Udosoriang, will be conferred with Doctor of Science degree in Public Administration honoris causa, while the Chancellor of Northford University College, Ghana, Mr. Douglas Boteng, will be awarded a Doctor of Science degree in Management honoris causa in recognition of their contributions to the development of the society. The Vice Chancellor said the convocation lecture billed for Friday, 20th November 2015 at 2 p.m. will be delivered by the Chancellor of Leeds University, Ibadan, Professor Gabriel Ogumola, on the topic, the role of government in developing and sustaining private universities. Ekanemesang said the Obong University convocation lecture will be chaired by the Commissioner for Education, Elder Anyekanakban. Instead, Obong University runs programs in accounting, biochemistry, microbiology, computer science, economics, international relations, public administration, peace and conflict management, as well as sociology and political science. Professor Ekanemesang said Governor Odomi Manuel, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senator Itainang, and Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Professor Julius Okoje, are expected to grace the convocation. The state government has eulogized the exemplary character, attributes, and honorous contributions of the late clan head of Northern Oran, Etebompasi Etmakpan, to the development of Akwa Ibom, especially its civil service. The head of civil service, Mrs. Ekarobongakpan, expressed the government's concerns to the death of the first-class traditional ruler during his funeral at Mbeya Oran. The story is here presented.
Represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Mrs. Cecilia Yang, the head of the civil service said the demise of Obong Basi Etmakpan was a huge loss, considering his sacrifices to uplift the socio-economic status of the state. She tasked Akwa Ibom civil servants and family members of the late clan head to strive to keep alive the remarkable footprint he left behind by imbibing his virtues of hard work, integrity, and persistence.
That the late Etebompasi Akpan was a very resourceful, diligent, and committed personality who contributed immensely to the development of his community, state, and nation at large.
The Commissioner for Transport, Prince Godwin Tobude, attested to the late Etebom Bassey Akpan's highly impactful life. He said his death had left a huge vacuum in Uran and Akwa Ibom State and prayed God to grant him eternal rest. In his homily, the Deputy Clerk, General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria, the Reverend Daniel Etam, noted that the very popular wish to departed loved ones rest in peace could only be feasible if the deceased had maintained a good relationship with God before death. He enjoined Christians to live their lives with a consciousness that they were pilgrims and not tourists on earth, and that there was a destination after death.
Peace means may be well with you. Rest in peace. And this has been the wishes of many for those who departed this life. His death is not a tragedy. Rather, his life is a triumph.
According to a biography of the deceased as read by his granddaughter Idorin Ndem, the late clan head distinguished himself as a very brilliant scholar and maintained first position consistently, which won him a number of prizes, including the best all-round graduate of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, in 1963. He retired from the state civil service as a permanent secretary and was elected executive chairman of Uyo local government in 1985. He was also the first elected executive chairman who ran local government in 1989, as well as the national chairman of the defunct National Republican Party of Nigeria.
The achievements of His Highness Dr. B.A. Akpan have not gone unnoticed. He cited in After Who's Who, in second edition, 1991. He was awarded the Doctor of Philosophy, PhD in Public Administration, honoris causa, by the Columbus International University, British Virgin Islands, United Kingdom in March 2004.
Highlights of the event were a display by the Ekpo Masquerade, a tradition of Uran people, as well as presentations by several groups in honor of the deceased. The remains of the late clan head of Northern Uran, Etebom Bassey Etam, were later interred at his palace in Mbiaya, Uran.
The Ekomiman community in Etina local government area last weekend rolled out the drums to celebrate the life of the patriarch of the Uko family, the late Reverend Bassey Joseph Uko, who died at 96. The rite of passage of the Reverend Bassey Uko, father of Esther Crispin of the Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation, was conducted by the International Pentecostal Holiness Church. Imam Mana witnessed the funeral which took place at the Salvation Army Primary School, Ekomiman Etinan, from where she filed the following report.
It was a celebration of life well lived as the children of the late Reverend Bassey Uko celebrated their late father's accomplishment in God's faithfulness. The officiating minister, the Reverend Esang Akpan of the International Pentecostal Holiness Church, who drew his exhortation from the book of Timothy, spoke on the topic, "Is it worth fighting for?" admonishing the congregation to live a righteous life so as to inherit the kingdom of God. He reminded the congregation that hell is real for those who do not believe in Jesus Christ and called on everybody to repent and seek the face of God.
Everything else on earth is not to compare to the crown that God will give. And unfortunately, Paul says this church is faithful. This church is righteous. He's not my uncle, he's not my brother, he's not my sister, he's not my friend, he's not my family, he's not from my village, he is righteous.
A biography of the late Reverend Bassey Uko, read by a grandson, Godson Jaclives, indicated that the deceased, who was born in 1919 as the first male child of 24 children, had shouldered the responsibility of educating his siblings. Ete Bassey, as he was fondly called by his siblings, and Bro Papa by his children, completed his secondary education in Hope Waddell Training Institute, Calabar in 1943 and commenced his working career as a pupil nurse at the General Hospital, Calabar in 1944. Through hard work and commitment, he received complete training as a nurse and obtained the Nigerian Registered Nurse certification. On retirement in 1976, Bro Papa took up appointment in private hospitals and medical-related organizations, including Mercy Hospital, Lagos, and many others. The God-fearing father and grandfather was an epitome of humility and love, who will be remembered for his love for everyone he came in contact with.
For the young Basiuko, his father's sentiment was words on marble, standing the test of time and providing inspiration for the family to soldier on. It was indeed a directive such that his son, Basi, would ensure that his siblings were educated.
Messages of condolences were presented at the funeral by the Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation, AKBC, Association of Professional Broadcasters, International Pentecostal Holiness Church, and many others. The children of the deceased said their father was a peace-loving man who lived a righteous and peaceful life till the end.
I think my father gave me his all. I lacked nothing. All that I could ever ask for from my father, he gave it to me. His love was there. He was always there for me. He was never an absent father. He was even there more than mommy was.
My grandfather was a disciplinarian. He used to flog me a lot because I was quite stubborn back then. But he loved his children and he
had time for us as a family. He was able to teach us the ways of God. She left us with enough wisdom to live life, even life after life.
Survived by 5 children, grandchildren, and other relatives. The remains of the non-Agenarian Reverend Basi Joseph Uko were later interred at his residence.
The Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udoma Udoma, has predicted that Nigeria's economy will soon witness a turnaround despite its current challenges. French authorities declare state of emergency after shootings and multiple explosions in Paris. These and other stories in our national and foreign news segment with Maseka.
On assumption of office, the new Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udoma Udoma, has predicted that the nation's economy will soon witness a turnaround despite its current challenges. The minister said he was confident that things will get better if everyone worked together as a team, adding that with dedication and hard work, Nigeria's economy will be better. Senator Udoma also said during his tenure, no idea would be dismissed because good ideas could come from anyone. The Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, on her part, noted the strategic importance of effective budgeting for the country. A state of emergency has been declared in France after more than 150 people were killed in several shootings and multiple explosions in at least 7 spots in the French capital. A bomb attack was targeted at the Stade de France, where French national football team were playing Germany with President François Hollande watching. Gunmen targeted bars, restaurants, and the Bataclan Art Center, where terrorists held over 100 people hostage. French authorities have asked people to remain at home while sporting events for the weekend in the city have been cancelled. President François Hollande has condemned the attack, which is the worst hit against France since World War II. World leaders including Barack Obama of the United States, David Cameron of Britain, and Angela Merkel of Germany have condemned the attack, saying it is against humanity. Meanwhile, France has tightened its border controls while soldiers have been mobilized to guard the parliament buildings, religious sites, and tourist attractions. The 2018 World Cup qualifying match between Nigeria and Swaziland, which took place at the Somholo National Stadium, Lubamba, Swaziland, ended in barren draw. Nigeria's first clear chance came with a free kick, which was saved by the goalkeeper of the Swaziland team. Nigeria will be hosting the King's Shield in a second leg on Tuesday, November 17, at the Adokiye Amesi Amaka Stadium, Port Harcourt, where the winner on aggregate will qualify for the 2018 World Cup. FIFA's ad hoc electoral committee has admitted and declared 5 candidates eligible for the election of the office of the FIFA president. The candidates are Prince Ali Al Hussein, Salman Al Khalifa, Jerome Champagne, Gianni Infantino, and Tokyo Sexuale. FIFA's ethics committee had conducted integrity checks on the candidates. The decision of the ad hoc electoral committee on eligibility of candidates may be appealed at the Court of Arbitration for Sports in Lausanne. FIFA's election will take place at the extraordinary FIFA Congress in Zurich on February 26, 2016.
Thank you, Mercy. Do remember that you can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org. You can follow us on Twitter at AKBC45U or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. That's our package for this morning. But before we go, another look at the top stories. The inspection of erosion sites in Akwa Ibom by a federal government delegation has raised hopes of urgent assistance to the state to tackle the menace. Upholding the dignity of the girl child was the focus of a walk through major streets of Uyo, organized by the Family Empowerment and Youth Reorientation Program, the pet project of the Akwa Ibom State Governor's wife, Mrs. Martha Udomi Manuel. We also brought you a report that the State Police Command has again called on parents to advise their wards to curtail their movements at night. That was the news. Thanks for watching. Happy Sunday.
Welcome to Acapella on AKBC Channel 45.